So it starts with octet rule. So what is octet rule basically? Octet rule is the concept which explains the cause of stability for any elements. It states that when any atoms have 8 electrons in valence shell, then the compound or element will be stable. If any atom would have 8 electrons in valence shell, then atom is going to be stable. So sodium it has atomic number 11 and its electronic configuration is 2 in the first shell, 8 in the second shell and 1 in the third shell. So how it can get stable if it would have this electronic configuration? So this is possible when sodium loses 1 electron and become positive charge. So now why Na positive? Na positive is following octet rule. Similarly, if I talks about chlorine, its proton number is 17. So 2, 8 and 7. So what the chlorine is going to do to become stable, to follow the octet rule? What it will do? Yes, beta.
Gain electron.
It will gain electron and its electronic configuration will be 288 and its charge will be -1. Right? So this is the some basic concept. There is a similar concept which is duplet rule. What is duplet rule? Duplet rule is the concept which states that when any atom have 2 electrons, 2 electron in valence shell, then it would be stable. But this concept is applicable on hydrogen, helium, and somehow lithium. For the elements that have 1 shell involved. 1 shell, or you may say that for first shell. Okay, how? In lithium, its proton number is 3, atomic number is 3, it's 2, 1. So lithium positive will be, it will lose 1 electron, so it would be, lithium would have charge, so electrons 2. So its first shell is complete with 2 electrons, right? Now we can say that lithium is stable and following duplet rule, not the octet. So you know what does technically oct mean?
8.
Oct mean 8 and duplet mean 2.
2.
Got it? So, okay. So this thing, if you remember, we studied in the first lecture about hydroxide, OH minus, carbonate, CO3 minus 2 or 2 minus, and all that. So where they are used? They are used in making a formula. Do you remember? For example, what will the formula of sodium carbonate? It would be Na plus and carbonate is CO3 2 minus. So what would be the formula of sodium carbonate?
Na3.
No, they will be cross multiplied. Numbers will be cross multiplied. It would be Na2CO3, right? Similarly, let's see. I want to predict about potassium phosphate. So potassium belongs to group 1. It is +1 or 1 plus, you may say that. And phosphate, you can see phosphate is this, PO4 3 minus. Okay, what would be the formula of potassium phosphate? Yes, beta.
K3 minus.
Yes, K3PO4. Okay, let's see. If I ask you to write the formula of calcium phosphate. So calcium is 2 plus and you see phosphate is PO4 3 minus. So what would be the formula for calcium phosphate?
Ca3 and
Ca3 is right.
Yeah.
And PO4 is twice. I mean 2 times PO4, like PO4 bracket close twice. So where you can find, now the point is, where you can find the charges on the elements like sodium, potassium, calcium, from where you can get help? Simply from periodic table, right?
Yeah.
The group number 1, the elements belongs to group 1 have +1 charge. And
Yeah.
what about group 2?
+2 charge.
What about group 7?
Have minus
-1. Very good.
Yeah.
So you can conclude the formula. I have also the lecture about it, this formulation of 4 to 5 minutes video on my YouTube channel as well. Whenever you are confused, you can concern that video. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now there are some exceptions to octet rule which we have just studied. So one of the exception is that if the element belonging to the lower elements, like from the first shell, second shell, they will not obey octet rule to become stable. Okay. Similarly, look at this. Beryllium. Beryllium is this one. I guess you can easily predict. Beryllium has 4 proton number, 2, 2. So for its stability, it loses 2 electrons and becomes stable. So does it is following octet rule?
No.
It's following duplet rule. Okay.
Duplet rule, yeah.
This is the first objection, and the second objection is the D block elements do not obey the octet rule. What is meant by D block elements? Where they are present in periodic table?
The transition metals.
Yeah, very good. Between S and P block, they do not obey the octet rule, right?
Yeah.
Okay, right. The rule work in some cases for sulfur and phosphorus, but not in others. So definitely, if I say there are many compounds like SO2 and SO3, okay? So in some cases it is applicable, in some cases it is not applicable. For example, BF3 is a compound, but it is a stable compound and do not follow the octet rule, but this compound exists. So there are some elements, compounds of sulfur and phosphorus which obey octet rule and some do not obey octet. I mean to say this, octet rule is not a universal rule that each element of the compound is going to obey, right?
Okay.
The last one which we have just discussed, hydrogen and lithium. So what about hydrogen and lithium? Hydrogen and lithium, the electronic structure of helium, but they are unable to gain the large number of electrons to follow the octet. What about hydrogen? It has 1 proton number. So which rule it will obey? Definitely duplet, because it involves only first shell, which has the maximum capability of 2 electrons. Okay?
Yeah.
Do you agree with this? Any doubt, beta? Okay, what you know about the meaning of valency? Actually, you know valency mean. Valency mean how many bonds an atom will form. What is the charge basically? The charge on the atom. For example, if I say NaCl, calcium chloride, aluminium chloride. So sodium is making 1 bond, calcium is attaching with 2 chlorine, aluminium is attaching with 3 chlorine. Okay. So similarly, you can predict the valency. What is the valency of sodium? It's +1.
Sodium.
Calcium is 2 plus. And I have just explained the concept of valency of any element you can predict from periodic table, right? For example, atom of group 1. Atom of group 1 elements would have what valency?
+1.
+1. And atom of group 2, which includes magnesium, calcium, would have valency 2. Atom of group 3 would have 3. Atom of group 4 would have 4.
Yeah.
Got the point?
Yeah.
Similarly, atom of group 5 could have 2 options. Basically, usually it would have 3, but in some cases it can have 5 as well. Do you agree with this? Suppose phosphorus is 15. You have 2, 8, 5. So it has 2 options. Number one, it will gain 3 electrons, so it would have 3 valency,
Yes.
or it can
Yes.
lose 5 electrons, so it can have
5 means
5. So what about group 6? It can have valency 2 because it has
2.
6 electrons in the last shell and it will gain 2 electrons to
Yeah.
become stable.
2.
Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, atom of group 7, you just told me it would have valency 1.
Yeah. 1. Yeah.
So any doubt, beta? This was just the
No.
repeat telecast. You know, we have studied these things in our first lecture, right? And I
Yeah.
told you that this lecture is going to help you again and again.
Yeah.
Inshallah. Okay. What is? Okay. So this one, look at this. They are repeating. Group 1 has 1, 2, 3, 4. And then group 5 has 3, 6 has 2, and then 1, and group 8 has 0. Okay?
Yeah.
So these questions are for you. You can go through these questions in during the weekend and then let me know.
Okay.
Okay? So I am
Yeah.
moving toward an important topic of chemistry, that is ionic bonding. So ionic bonding is what? Ionic bonding is simple. Number one, what is this name indicates? It's in which ions are involved. So there are two kinds of ions so far we have studied. We know one is positive ion, another is negative ion, right? So we have two kinds of ion. One is positive and another is negative. And it's a natural force that positive and negative attract each other. Simply NaCl. So bond between sodium positive and chlorine negative is ionic bond. Okay? Ionic bond is the bond between two ions, and definitely it is understood it would be the two opposite ions. One would be positive and one is going to be negative. You know the similar ions will repel each other and the opposite ions will attract each other, right? Got the point, beta? Manu beta, any doubt?
Yeah.
Okay, no, Mahnur, a very simple question. If someone says you, why positive and negative attract each other, or which force causes the attraction?
Yeah. No.
Which force causes the attraction between positive and negative ion? That is called electrostatic force of attraction. Electrostatic force of attraction means the force of attraction between the positive ion and the negative ion is called electrostatic force of attraction. Okay? Chlorine is 17, that is 287. Okay. So अब हमने बात की, we have sodium chlorine. Sodium has 281. So what sodium is going to do for stability, it is going to lose one electron and is becoming sodium positive. So when sodium is losing an electron, who is going to gain this electron? Definitely chlorine, because chlorine need one electron to become stable. Okay, let's show it in diagram. So we have Na, and Na has 2 in the first shell, and then 8 in second shell. So these circles are indicating electrons, and then 1 in last shell. Plus we have chlorine. Two in the first shell and 8 in the second shell. And this one 7 in the. Okay, what is going to happen? Sodium is going to transfer its electron from sodium to chlorine. So sodium is going to transfer its electron from sodium to chloride. Now the shape of sodium would be like Na, 2 electron in the first shell and 8 electron in second shell. And then chlorine, 2 in the first shell, and then 8 in the second shell. And then how many electron in the third shell of chlorine, beta? Chloridine. Look at this. What the difference you are seeing in chloride? This is going to be Na positive, and this is now called as Cl minus. Manu beta, what the difference you are seeing in it? Here you have one, okay, the electron of sodium are represented by this circle, and the electron of chlorine are represented by cross. So it is called dot and cross diagram. So electron has been transferred from sodium to chlorine, and when the so sodium when the sodium is gaining the electron, it is sodium is when the sodium is losing electron, it is getting plus charge, and when the chlorine is gaining electron, it is getting minus charge. So the positive and negative ion will attract each other, and they are going to make ionic bond between them. Hello. 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 Hello.